Hello everybody, this is Rare Elvis Photos back again. This is the final video of the night. Now you might not watch it tonight, you might watch it in the morning or in the afternoon, so don't let that confuse you. We've been reading Elvis and Kathy, Are You Lonesome Tonight? From Here to the Great Unknown, My Army Days with Elvis, Child Bride, which is a very, it's a title that makes no sense because she wasn't a child, but, and then we're reading Inside Elvis, which is a book by Ed Parker. Ed Parker being the same Ed Parker that's the only person to ever go more than 2 minutes with Bruce Lee in a fight. 15 minutes. Bruce Lee finally beat him. But that's one of the things Elvis probably was very, very, very attracted to Ed by, as a friend, and also felt safe that Ed Parker would protect him on the road. Because, I mean, if somebody like Bruce Lee, it takes 15 minutes to beat Ed Parker must be the second baddest man on the planet behind Bruce Lee. So, without further ado, the first couple readings of this was went over Elvis's death and his funeral. And now Ed Parker, I think, is going to share some other stuff. More about Elvis Presley. So, thank you to all of you that have been watching these videos and continue doing it every day. And the emails I'm getting with the research from Are You Lonesome Tonight? And for those of you that are leaving me the super thanks, I appreciate it as well. And for those of you that have just recently joined as a member, I appreciate that as well. So that's enough thanks. Not that I can ever give enough thanks to y'all, but we got to get to reading, right? All right, so The Real Man. I write this book with mixed emotions. Elvis's life should remain private, yet I feel driven to offset some of the slander that now taints his name. Make no mistake, I am not an apologist for my friend. I knew him well. He was a man who loved people regardless of the warts of their personalities. He always looked for merit, forgave flaws, and found beauty in the humblest fan. Elvis would be as impatient with saccharine eulogy as he would be with those exploitive distortions of his life that have been rushed into print solely to enrich the author at his expense. The fans who have attended his countless shows are demanding the truth. They have spent untold millions of dollars for gasoline, plane fares, hotel rooms, and concert tickets. Their urgent requests have compelled me to share my experiences so they might know him as I did. It is for you who supported him, loved him, saw him, touched him, heard him, knew of him, and who might have wanted that close contact that I undertake this painful task. Painful. For the memories are bittersweet. We will share those close personal experiences with Elvis that you may have a deeper insight into the man that we loved and cherished. There'll be no need to gloss over his faults and weaknesses, for I know that you loved him as he was. Once you have all the facts, you will then know for certain that Elvis loved you too. His final conversations with me proved that he was concerned that his fans would cease to love him as he loved them because of the controversy. I can still hear his voice saying, "It's my obligation is to them. They're giving me everything I have. If I can't please my fans, I would rather just give it all back." Elvis was revered by many. But he was still a man. He had a man's likes and dislikes and did the normal things that most men have been known to do. His role in life was a difficult one to play. As the king of rock and roll, well, he was a public target. He was besieged by every imaginable type of character, each with a scheme, most with a selfish angle, all of them grasping at him, tearing at him, for purposes of their own. Such demands and pressures distorted reality. They made his role as a normal human being more difficult to maintain than you could possibly imagine. It is unfortunate that you didn't have the opportunity to know him during the quiet times, for it was then when the idol stepped down and Elvis the man held court. Those were choice moments. Elvis would open that protected inner part of his personality. Sometimes he was thoughtful, introspective, sometimes boyishly exuberant. At all times, he was eager to discuss the things that really mattered to him. We would talk in depth about philosophy, religion, world events, the universe, numerology, the meaning and purpose of life, the science of colors, and a host of other topics as diverse as the man himself. Elvis, in those private talks, shared with me his innermost thoughts, concepts that he rarely expressed and seldom, if ever, divulged to others. See chapter 11. Can't go there yet. Sorry. We're just starting. These were precious moments for both of us. He made time for this exploration of the inner space of his mind, no matter where he was. We would exchange ideas as he relaxed in his suite between shows or during travel time on tour. Sometimes it was in the seclusion of his home. At other times it was at 15,000 feet to the accompaniment of jet engines in his private aircraft known as the Lisa Marie. Numerous times we held long-distance telephone conversations about some concept he wanted to explore. Most of those discussions were in the wee hours of the morning. It was not unusual to receive a telephone call from Elvis at 3 or 4 a.m. Now, this might sound strange to you, but remember, Elvis was a night person. He slept during the day, and he stayed up at night. Originally, this was not so, but as his popularity increased, it became a necessity. For the sake of privacy, the night hours became his waking hours. The cloak of darkness became his suit of invisibility. It was an expedient solution to the problem of an over-exuberant crowd. Soon he only slept at night when he had to make a movie he only slept at nights when he had to make a movie or had to leave early or make it on time for the next tour location. Now, when Elvis called me, it was during his working hours. The more we conversed, the more obvious it became that Elvis was extremely well-read. He carried books by the suitcase full when he traveled. It's the second time I've heard that. Believe me, this was not done to impress others. He read, researched, and was taught constantly. He would study privately or in the confines of his tutor's quarters. Although private tutoring waned during the latter years, he nevertheless continued to read. He even read in the limousine on his way to a performance. To my surprise, I learned that he had a photographic memory. You may have wondered how it was possible for him to remember songs by the hundreds. Though he might forget small sections of a song from time to time, he had virtual total recall of all of his vast repertoire. I first became aware of his photographic memory when he would tell me that the topic we were discussing was in a particular book, on a particular page, in a specific paragraph, and in a precise sentence, and he was never wrong. At times he would ask me to refer to the specified book to locate the topic of our conversation. Now, it staggered me, for I knew that it had been many, many years since he had read those particular books. If my mother had another son, I would have wanted Elvis to be my brother. Yes, he had his moods, elated, jovial, witty, mischievous, mad, sad, happy, depressed, but many of his moods were no different from yours or mine. There were, in fact, many instances where his actions and reactions reminded me so much of myself that I felt like we were paternal brothers. Now, I realize that there are a number of personality traits within a single household, but nonetheless, there are many more families that have brothers or sisters sharing the same traits. I felt a powerful bond of kinship for Elvis. On many occasions, conversation was totally unnecessary. Because of the bond of brotherhood and friendship, a glance, a stare, a gesture, a touch was all that was necessary. And on one occasion, when one of us would get into a somber mood, well, the other one would understand, respect, and sympathize. That's interesting. Instead of trying to cheer each other up, they would just understand, respect, and sympathize. That's interesting. Elvis was very human. He had the same basic traits we all possess, yet he never lost sight of his humble beginnings. He constantly spoke of those he came in contact with as children of our Father in heaven. Elvis was far from perfect. He had flaws and weaknesses, yet though he laid no claim to perfection, he was dragged in print before the howling mob and falsely accused by those who had eaten at his table. If we judge by what has been written, we know his accusers had no knowledge of the real man. So basically he's saying Red, Sonny, and Dave really truly had no knowledge of Elvis. The good that permeated Elvis far outweighed the minor idiosyncrasies he had. He gave, he shared, he donated, not for personal credit or glory, but because he enjoyed doing it. He was moved by and wanted to emulate that one perfect example. Elvis often told me that he felt the good Lord blessed him when he so freely and willingly gave to others. It was for that reason, not an ulterior motive, that much of what he gave was given so impulsively. He also felt his talent was given to him as a gift from our Lord and Savior. Therefore, he felt he should share that gift with others, whether it was through his voice or through monetary means. He once told me that as proof of his continuous blessings from the Lord, he had given $68,000 worth of gifts to various members of his family and friends one day, only to receive a residual check in the mail for $89,000 the next day. When he told me the story, it was quietly, in private, one brother to another, not to brag, not to reiterate the fact that he was not to brag, but to reiterate the fact that he was sincerely grateful to the Lord for continuous blessings that were being bestowed upon him. He was not generous because he wanted his blessings compounded, but because of the joy and self-satisfaction that stemmed from giving. How sad and how typical that the cynics could only see a publicity gimmick in these acts of selflessness. Paul Harvey was perhaps the only national prominent news commentator to see beneath the surface. Perhaps that is because both men were enlightened by the same source of inspiration. Both men looked to the same perfect example and said in their heart, there was a man, an example I can follow. We need to look that up. Paul Harvey. How often did he talk about Elvis? And what is Ed referring to right here? It's a beautiful picture right there. That's going to take us. This is a kind of a shorter read, but the next chapter, I'll tell you the name of it. It is going to be, oh, well, actually, there's pictures here. Look at these pictures. That's actually really, really good. Done with a pencil. Think about that. Look at it. You know what? That's amazing. This type of stuff is amazing to me. It's like you and I could do this, maybe. It looks so simple, yet it looks so hard. Like, how do you make Elvis? Gosh, I'm going to get me a piece of paper and a pencil out and try to do this. It's pretty inspiring. Gosh, it's amazing. The next one's called The Unknown Spectator, sorry. All right, well, let me know what you think in the comments. I just wanted to make sure I gave you one more reading. I hadn't done Inside Elvis in a couple of days, so y'all deserve it. TCB TLC, much love. Till next time, have a wonderful evening. And if you watch this starting tomorrow, which is probably today if you're listening to it, I'm not making any sense. Have a great day, evening, morning, all that good stuff.